Hey, good to see you again, guys. This is the Raphael Rigatoni show. Today I have a very special guest. This is my daughter.
Hello.
I gotta tell you something. She's almost as good as me.
But better.
See what I get? Listen, what we're gonna do today, like I told you last time, is we're gonna make a real nice spaghetti sauce. I know everybody makes their own sauce their own way, but I think that between our family, we make a really delicious sauce.
And my sauce comes out different every time.
And that's the truth for everybody. It depends what you have in the kitchen.
That's right. Whatever's in your cabinet.
Yeah. So anyway, let's see what happens with this one here, okay? I already did some cooking because, as you know, time constraints. We only have a few moments to go through this video. But I started already cooking some of the meat. Remember now, the meat that we're going to be using is chuck roast, and we take as much fat off as we can. And also we have some short ribs here. And the other thing is still in the oven, and that's the Italian sausage.
Which is just about ready to come out.
Is it?
Yes.
Go ahead and take it out.
Yeah.
Take it out.
The Italian sausage, I think my dad got some hot Italian sausage, and all we did was, when it was still raw, we poked some holes in it with the knife, and we laid it on top of the aluminum foil and baked it. I think it was at like 350, 375 for about 40 minutes, just to get all the excess fat off, and that's it for the sausage.
Anyway, let's put that chuck roast pieces in here. Now what I've done is I took out the chuck roast and I took as much fat as I could out of it. And then I cut it into about 2-inch pieces. I have oil in here, extra virgin olive oil. And I put about a quarter cup of red wine. Now what we're going to do is just braise this for a few minutes. Now remember, as I said before, when you braise meat, what you're doing is you're creating a fond at the bottom of the pan. The fond is the flavoring that is created with the meat, vegetables, salt and pepper and all of that. Well, that is some good stuff that you want to use.
Which is really just crusty stuff after the meat's cooked, and you want to use that. And you get it off of the pan with wine. And he calls it fond, I just call it crusty stuff.
Hey, the original word and the normal word is fond, F-O-N-D, if you want to know.
Okay.
Okay?
Good.
And you want to know that's fond, F-O-N-D. So here we go. We're cooking this, and we're going to turn it over. Put a little bit of the wine and the oil that's in here and cook it. And oh, I wish you guys were here. I'm telling you, this smells so good.
It does smell good, I do have to say that.
And that's because of the ingredients we put in here. Now, once this gets cooked, what I'm going to do is I already cooked the vegetables, onion, bell pepper, garlic, rosemary, all of the herbs and salt and pepper are already cooked in here. Again, it added another layer of flavor to the bottom of the pan. So once that's done, then once this is done, I'll take it out, and we're going to start with the sauce. Okay, now I've taken out the chuck roast from the pan, and here's where the herbs, the vegetables that are part of the cooking process come in. So what this is basically bell pepper, red bell pepper. We got some onions in here. We got garlic. Oh, garlic. I got about 8 cloves of garlic in here. If I wanted to, I could have put in 10 or 12. But anyway, then I also put your regular seasonings, or herbs like basil, parsley, and things of that nature. Now, what I would have done, I would have put it into the pan. Now look in here. And do you see down at the bottom on the edges, the fond? That fond is the flavor that has been created by the meat, the salt and pepper, and whatever other ingredients we put in it. And this, again, I like to constantly say that it adds layers of flavor to your food. And in this case, it's going to add layers of flavor to your pasta sauce. So here we go. We put that in. This is already partially cooked, so we don't have to cook it too much. Then the next thing that we do, we let this render down and let it, get get the flavor in there, in the oil, in the vegetables. And now, the next thing we do is we go ahead and put the pasta in. No, excuse me, the sauce. Now this is where we start putting in the sauce. We start out with a can. This is a 32-ounce can of, well, she put in, first of all, just the regular sauce.
Crushed tomatoes.
Crushed tomato sauce.
I
Now-
don't think there's any need to make an order of the tomato sauce.
No, it doesn't. But then I also put a little marinara sauce, which gives me another flavor in the sauce. And the last thing I put in is 2 cans of crushed tomatoes. Actually, what I need to do, I won't be able to do it now, but what I like to do is I like to put it in a stainless steel pan like this.
And you
and
scrunch them.
Squish them with your hands. Some people say, well, that's dirty. No, it isn't. Just wash your hands before you go ahead and put your hand in. Very true. So now we just go ahead and stir this.
I'm gonna add some water to it.
Right. It does need it. If you look at this, you can see that it's a little bit on the thick side. So that's why I say, and many people say, well, everybody makes their sauce differently. That's true. That's because they have to look at the sauce. How does it look like to you? Does it look a little too thick? Does it need maybe a little bit more oil? Does it need a little bit more water? How about some wine? Well, you may want to do that. The other thing that Janelle is doing right now is kind of rinsing out the cans, and just to get all of the sauce that's in the can with water, and rinse it out, and then she's going to put it back into this pot.
So you don't waste any of the tomato sauce.
That's right. Hey, you know, we're very frugal. Italians are, and we're proud of it.
Frugal is not the word. It's
Oh,
more like
well, I don't
cheap.
like to use the word cheap. Frugal is better.
Okay, my dad's cheap.
Yeah, that's pretty much the one.
What can I say? That's the only way I can help. Hey, now, cut up that tomato. Would you please, Janelle? I had a couple of fresh tomatoes, Roma tomatoes, and what I did is I boiled them a little bit, made a little slit at the top of the tomato, boiled them for about 5 minutes, and took them out, cooled them down with cold water, peeled off the skin. And I also took the seeds out. Now we're just going to cut it up and put it into the pasta sauce.
Here's the tomato paste, Dad. Put
Oh,
the
okay,
tomato
yeah.
paste in.
In that case, we're going to put a little bit of tomato paste here right now. Tomato paste will have a tendency to thicken things up a bit. And again, just make it more flavorful, more tasty for you. You know, Janelle, I want this to cook a little bit more, and then we're going to put the sausage in. And again, that sausage, like my daughter says, is cut up into 3 pieces, each sausage link. So you're going to have plenty of sausage, plenty of food to eat. Now, as this sauce is cooking, you have to remember that it simmers slowly, and you stir it constantly so that you don't have any chance of it sticking to the bottom of the pan or burning. You don't want any kind of burnt taste on the sauce. Just stir it constantly. Okay, we're going to do something that some people don't do. And like I told you, remember the sausage? It's not fully cooked, and it still has some grease in it. But we want that. We want the flavor in it. So what Janelle's going to do now is she's just going to put all the sausage in there, which I don't know how many pieces we ended up with. Quite a few.
There were probably about 10 full links.
Yeah, there were. And so that's 30 pieces. 30 pieces of sausage that we have. And then this will add about a cup to a cup and a half of red wine to the sauce. And then we'll let that simmer. And then we'll also, after maybe about 15, 20 minutes, we're going to go ahead and put the meat in there, which is the chuck roast and the short ribs. We're going to put it in there, and then we're going to let everything simmer slowly so that all the flavors marry. They all blend together. And then you end up with a delicious sauce. And you can do a lot of things with that sauce. And we'll show you 3 things that I would suggest that you do.
Now for the wine, it's a cab, and for the size of this pot, I'm probably gonna put in like a full cup. There's probably 2 cups in here, so I'm gonna use at least half of this. And I'm gonna pour it in now because it's gonna start simmering.
You know, another reason why you put wine ahead of time, before it really does cook, is that you want to make sure that the alcohol cooks out. That way, when you finish cooking with the wine, all you're getting is, again, the flavor. I keep using that word, but it's really true. You use flavors and you layer them so that you get a delicious dish when you're finished with it.
It also adds a nice sweetness to it.
And then, because of time constraints, I'm going to go ahead and put the meat in now. But normally what I would do is I would wait, maybe 15, 20 minutes to let that sauce get real hot. And now we're going to go ahead and put the meat. Let me have the spoon.
I was gonna,
Okay.
and these are probably cooked medium rare, but by the time the sauce is done, they will be definitely well done
And tender.
and very tender.
Now, the reason I say that is because you're going to have to simmer this thing for about an hour and a half for that chuck roast, and especially for the short ribs to tenderize. You don't throw that away.
And see this stuff, a lot of people might think that's gross, but it's just the meat from the meat juices, and you are going to add that to the sauce as well. Like my dad said, it adds another layer of flavor.
Okay, now we just have to wait for this baby to simmer. In the normal circumstances, I would say an hour and a half. And, repeatedly turn it. Use the spoon to turn the sauce. Again, I want to emphasize, you don't want it to stick to the bottom of the pan, and you don't want the sauce to burn at all. It's
And-
gotta,
Sorry, we have not salted this at all, not yet. The tomatoes have sauce in them, canned tomatoes, and the meat's already flavored. So we have not salted any of the sauce yet, and probably, I don't salt until after it's actually already cooked. And then I'll add my salt in at that point because you don't want it to be too salty.
right, in fact, that is the correct way of doing it. Look at this now. Do you think that you would enjoy that? Do you think you'd be able to make a meal for 20, 30 people?
And
Almost definitely.
And at this point, I have to taste it because it's not cooked yet, but it needs to be tasted. I'll taste it now, and then I'll taste it in about 40 minutes. And I just keep tasting it till it's done. See? Looks really good. Smells really good.
Here, let them smell it.
It tastes really good. It does need salt, but we're gonna wait until the meat cooks into the sauce.
So now what we're going to do is we're going to make at least 3, maybe even 4 dishes to give you ideas of how you can use the sauce and the ingredients like the meat, the sausage that's in the sauce to make 3, 4 different meals. So my daughter's going to start out with one of them, and let's see what she comes up with, okay?
Okay, yeah, like my dad said he was going to make 3 different meals, but I actually work for a living, unlike my dad who gets to stay home. So I like to do things really fast and quick. And if you have some sourdough bread in the house, all you need is to get a piece, cut it up in half. You can either toast it or leave it plain like this, which is what I did, just because of time constraints. And this will end up being your meal. You put the sauce over the bread. And as a mom, you don't even have to cook it. Your kids can go into the kitchen and do it themselves. You add a piece of sausage. You add a piece of the meat, if I can find one that's small enough. I know it doesn't look as pretty as some of the chefs make it. You put some Parmesan cheese over it.
I might interrupt here for just a moment about the Parmesan Romano
And-
cheese. Remember, don't add any more salt to your sauce in your sandwich or whatever you want to call it, because the Romano Parmesan cheese has a lot of sodium in it.
And a little bit of parsley, and there's your dinner. It was simple, it was easy, you had the sauce already made, you had some bread in your house, and all you had to do was spoon sauce over the bread. I personally would toast it. I think it would be much better on toasted bread. And there you go.
Enjoy! Okay, so now here's 3 more dishes that you can make out of the same sauce. You take your pasta, this right here is fettuccine. Fettuccine looks something like spaghetti, except it's wider, a little bit thicker. So just go ahead and put some on there. If you have a family that eats a lot of pasta, then put more. Okay? Go ahead and take now the sauce over the pasta. And it's basically the same that my daughter made with the bread. Okay, there's a piece of beef and a piece of sausage. Now, if you got someone who's a really hungry eater, give them more. I like to decorate mine a little bit. So now, if I'm going to use a little bit of herb on as a decoration over the dinner, I'd like to put something that lets people know what it is. So here's a little piece of parsley, just to let them know that as a condiment, if you want to call it that, is the parsley. And then sprinkle parsley over it. Then of course you have to have the Parmesan Romano. Put it over the dish. And I tell you the other thing I love to do with this is I love to cut up some bread, some fresh French bread or Italian bread. You know why? Put it to the side and dip that bread into the sauce. Oh. Now I'm going to tell you about another one that I love because of the fact that I love crab. Do the same thing, pasta, sauce over the pasta, and then if you're willing to pay the extra money for real fancy crab meat, you go ahead and buy some. Or what I do is I go ahead and get good canned crab meat. I take it out of the can, sprinkle it over the pasta, and I love crab, so I put a lot on there. And then I put a little bit more sauce over it, and then maybe a little bit of rosemary over the top. Beautiful dish. And it's just so wonderful when you have that crab. You can also make it with shrimp. So you see what I'm talking about? You make a good sauce, and then you can make different dishes out of the same sauce. So try it. Here we are.
And what my dad made actually looks really good. Maybe mine looks a little better, but his looks pretty good too.
You know, I don't know how I'm able to get such good comments from her. But anyway, this is our family, part of my family. And with time, I'm going to introduce other members of my family and also some friends that I know that are really very good cooks. So anyway, you have the idea. Now you have to do, all you have to do is use your own ingenuity. And remember, cooking is fun.
Okay, Dad. Okay. We're done.
That's it.